All right, while I'm waiting on the transmission to be done at ATF, it'll probably be done maybe Friday. I'll probably go down there Monday, so they're just plugging away at that. I am going to do some of the fuel lines and transmission lines, at least get those started, get them laid out, get them made, whatever. Probably get them made first and then put them in, you know, one of these days before the transmission gets here. I already have them all on the floor, so it's going to be really easy to make new lines. Just have to replicate the lines, basically. So, reached out to Motion Raceworks. Those guys have been so awesome on this whole program. Super helpful this whole time. That is why they get that nice big sticker back there, because these guys are freaking awesome to deal with. Love dealing with Motion Raceworks. We just decided to redo all of it. You know, new fittings. Call them up, you tell them what you need, and they get you the fittings you need and the length of hoses we need. They must have had this guy a little separate, but got everything we should need to remake those lines in this box. So that will be one huge weight taken off my shoulders, because I absolutely hate having to deal with that kind of stuff. It's just so much easier to just call up one place like Motion Raceworks, lay out what you need, and get it figured out very simply. So, transmission lines, fuel lines, everything we need, fuel fittings, transmission fittings, the whole lot. They use all high-end, made-in-America stuff for Gola fittings, so that's always nice too. Always awesome to see the made-in-America stuff. They even include dum-dums in all of their orders. So let's get to figuring out. They even include a nice Motion Raceworks sticker. So hell yeah. Big thanks to those guys. Check out Motion Raceworks for, you know, basically everything you could need for a race car. Now to get them made and put them in. So you guys love talking about dipsticks in the comments. So let's show you guys what the deal is. So this is the one that I originally put in the Camaro when I first built it with the cheap Powerglide LS setup. And it is, look at that, a locking dipstick. Wow. Yeah, so I do know what a locking dipstick is on a trans. I just didn't use one on the second rendition. The second rendition, we changed things up a little bit, and somehow, you know, something or another, I don't recall fully the circumstances, but we did away with this one for some reason, and we went to this guy right here. This was the dipstick that was in it after the 2J swap and the different trans and everything, so completely different combo. This dipstick just did not get used for some reason. I don't even remember why, honestly. I didn't even think about it much, but it is the low-car locking dipstick that everybody seems so fond of. It screws in on the bottom, got a completely different method for reading it. Locks into the trans, you can pull the dipstick out like that, you know, the whole nine. I'm very well aware of what a locking dipstick is. I did not have one, just without thinking about it really, because I just didn't cross my mind. So this is a very nice dipstick, but the one that ATF supplied is a little different. That is this guy right here. This is like an OEM style. For some reason or another, we'd never ended up using this one. I don't even remember. Now it seems crazy that it was sitting here on my shelf and never used it. You can tell it was in a car. I mean, it's definitely dirty. It was actually in the Camaro, ironically, and not anymore. Then I have a transmission overflow tank that has a little spout on the side that can get trans fluid out. So I'm gonna try this one. Keeps it nice. It bolts on the back of the trans, so that's kind of cool. And then it has a little vent right there. People don't like these vents, so I drilled this little hole, but I mean, you would have to fill up this whole thing before this hole is even a problem, so figured we would just go like that. Just getting this all set up for when the trans gets back, but figured I'd give you guys a little dipstick tutorial here. I'll be honest, I don't know everything about building a car, clearly. I listen to a lot of smart people. The guy that built my transmission said to use this one, so that's what I'm gonna do for now. If there's any problems, you know, we always change things. All right, I've just been cranking away making fuel lines and transmission lines here. These ones are already done. I just have this one last one to make. They're all right here, hanging up, ready to go back in the car. I just figured I'd make them all and then put them back in the car. Just save myself some energy and setup, because once I set up to make them, I might as well just keep making them. This last one that runs front to back, the return, I want to say this one is the last one I got to make. Yeah, this one's the return. So return is last guy to go on, and then we're good to go. All new fittings, all new line, freshly made. I'll be able to put these fuel lines in and pressure test them. The transmission, obviously, I can't do until, you know, transmission is back. But that'll be a huge step in the right direction to getting this car back on the road. Other than this and the fire suppression bottle, that's all we have left. I just pulled that guy out too, so I gotta send this off to get refilled, inspect the parachute, make sure that's all good. And then one other question I did want to answer, I saw a lot of people were asking about hardline. You don't really do hardline on a race car, nobody does that. I mean, some people may, but AN line is perfect for what we're trying to do. In the end of the day, fire is extremely uncommon, and you can only do, you know, you do what you can to prevent a fire, and you do what you can to mitigate your potential loss from a fire, but everything you do isn't, you know, oh, I gotta do something because it's gonna catch on fire. Like, that's not really the goal with building a car. You know, obviously you think about that, but that's not like, you know, the end goal. So this is all, you know, it is steel braided behind there. So it is steel braided line. It probably would have been able to take a good amount more fire before it melted through, but probably not much more. But in the end of the day, fuel line is going to burn if it gets hot, you know? So yeah, you just don't do a hard line. That's not really a thing. I'm sure some people do it, but I've never really seen much of it. So AN line is going in. It's easy to work with, super simple. So we're just putting back what came out. All right, the last fuel line is made, the long guy. Time to put all these in a box. Save them in case I need them. I mean, that lollipop that showed up. Put all these in tomorrow morning. Go over all the wiring I can physically even go over. You know, some things are just hidden beyond even getting to. But go over every piece of wiring, make sure we're all good on that front, and then replace what needs to be replaced, relume a couple things. And that should be it as far as fixing the fire damage. Then just toss the trans back in and we are good to go. So I'll see you guys in the morning. So I figured while I was doing the fuel system stuff, I would pull out the fuel filter. This is a Magna fuel filter, and it is a cleanable, serviceable filter, but man, it looks good still. So just gonna brake clean out some of that bigger stuff and put it back in, because this thing looks perfect still. So probably about 700, 800 miles of ethanol. Looks good. That's good. Now I can put it back in knowing that at least one of the two filters is good. I'm gonna check the other one and go from there. Well guys, we have fuel lines again. So back to having a fuel system being 100%. I just had to run these two. This one is the feed that ends up going into the flex fuel sensor. This one's the return, goes all the way back to the back. I got my surge tank up here. If you guys don't know how that really works, it fills this up. Then there's a drop into there, and then it picks up for the fuel pump up here, goes through that fuel filter over there, and then through the fuel rail into the injector. And then from there, from the injector, it comes from the fuel rail, it goes back into the fuel tank. Well, there's a regulator in between, but that's basically the gist of it. That's how the surge tank works. So it gets filled from a fuel pump in the back, fills up into here, goes to here, then to fuel rail to regulator back up, and then as this overfills, it just goes back into the tank. So this is pretty much always filled even when this thing's on full kill, it's not sucking it dry as the MagnaFuel 750 fills it up. And then the mechanical gets to pick up from here, so it's not really picking up from too low. We were able to get this pretty high up, so it's not too bad. Transmission lines are next, but I figured I would just wait until the transmission's back and in the car before I put the trans lines in. I'll be going down to ATF again this week, and we will be dynoing the trans, going over a couple more things, talking about some cool potential stuff we want to do in the future with the car, and just kind of hanging out down there again, because that video was really fun to film. You guys really liked it, so I look forward to doing more videos with ATF and hopefully more of the people that help support the car, so look forward to that. All right, just pulled the oil filter again after I think 4 passes, something like that. Just doing an oil change after the long drive to and from Texas and everything, and a couple hits. Just a little bit, like a couple small pieces in there. Down here there's a little bit, but nothing that really is alarming me. It's not, you know, coated. There's definitely a little bit of bearing material, but there's a lot of bearing material in that motor, so I think it can spare a little bit. Chipping away at my bearings for sure, but they should be good for a while longer. Well, the car's going back together. It is Monday, and I am very close to being able to start it. I honestly could probably start it right now, but I really don't want to without the transmission in. Just a ton of reasons why I wouldn't want to without the trans in. Even if it could start, I really don't want to yet. So, fuel system's all done, back together. Fresh oil in it, fresh filter. I went through all the wiring that I could see, even some of the wiring that's very difficult to see, takes a lot of work to get to. I went through every bit of wiring I could, and it all looks good. So now we just go back down to ATF either tomorrow or the next day, pick up the trans, come back in here, slap it in, and we should be ready to race with some of our buddies that are coming down here, because Cleetus and Cars is at the Freedom Factory this weekend, but there's a lot of people coming into town that want to race, so we're trying to do like a track rental or something, get all of those front wheel drive cars that Brent has out, which I am so excited to see. I can't wait to see those cars. That, like, I've never even been a fan of those style cars, but seeing what he's doing with them and everything like that is really cool. So I'm excited to see that, and then have the car out at Cleetus and Cars, just hanging out, sell some merch. So definitely come out to Cleetus and Cars at the Freedom Factory this weekend. That's going to be a fun deal. The Freedom 500 is Friday, so there's a lot going on this weekend. A lot of people in town getting the side-by-side ready for a side-by-side blog to come into town. So there's a lot of things going on in the next few days. So get excited for that. I can't wait. There's going to be some really cool videos coming, and maybe even get to watch 2JP go down the track a little bit, which I'm pretty pumped for. That thing's cool. So car will be back together this week. We're on the right path to being ready for Cleetus and Cars and ready for the track with all the guys. Haven't seen a lot of these guys in a while, so I'm just excited to be back together. But that'll do it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Keep it saucy. I'll see you next time. Well, Bowser decided he wanted to go into the front yard, and my gate didn't do a great job of stopping his ambitions to be in the front yard. So he came on out, so I had to come get him, and I'm trying to lure him this way. Thankfully, I was able to see where he went on the cameras once I noticed he was out. Now I'm trying to lure him this way. It's not exactly easy to lure a 115-pound tortoise, nor can I just pick him up and carry him anywhere, so I need to get some kind of cart for him. That's what the previous family had. Come on, Bowser. I don't, like, does that work? Come on, buddy. Please. I can't lift you. I need to get some lettuce. That usually lures him. But yeah, he tried to make a great escape, and he actually did. He made it pretty far. This is part of the life of having a tortoise that lives in your yard. They may escape time to time. Come on. You're doing great. I know, the front yard's nice. The dogs like it too. That's a leaf. Well, you're doing great, buddy. Right through there. Come on. I'll give you a treat once you get back in. Some tomatoes or something. Come on, hey. No, there's nothing over there that you want. Do I put a leash on him? Do I walk him? Come on. You're straying from the trail. That's gonna be tight. I don't know if you got that. Oh. Plenty of room. He doesn't fully know his size, I've noticed. Don't eat that. Come on. I knew I was gonna have to reevaluate the fence in a few spots when you have a unit this size. You're doing great, buddy.